Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Crafting with Cosplay Fabrics. My name is Indra and today I want to show you a very basic way to do draping. I'm using muslin for this, which is a great fabric to use for this technique. You will have to use a dress form or do this on someone else. I want you to notice how I am placing the fabric and I'm trying to show where the grain of the fabric is. And basically what you're doing is just kind of placing the fabric on the dress form and first kind of getting it on in place as tightly as possible. The pattern I'm working on is symmetrical, so I'm only going to be working on one half because I'm just going to be mirroring it. And so any excess, you want to get rid of that. Next thing is I'm sort of pinching the fabric, making sure I'm focusing on all of the different seams, like the shoulder, the side, and any sort of darts or any other placement that I feel like will need a seam. And all I do is just kind of pinch it and pin it. Then I'm going to start marking sort of the shape of the pattern. So I do any measurements that I need, and then I just start drawing right on top of the muslin, and I just make sure to also draw where all of those seams that I pinned are. And as you can see, it's just kind of following it along, and I do any other drawings or any sort of different things that need to be done onto this. I make sure to also include the armhole and making sure that all of the different pieces are labeled. You also want to put an arrow showing where the top is and where the grain of the fabric is. After that, you unpin and cut out all of the fabrics. For this particular pattern that I'm doing is just 3 pieces. So as you can see here a little more closely, you can see everything labeled, and all I'm gonna do is just transfer it onto paper. And you trace it, make sure everything is labeled, and then I'm gonna do the seam allowance. I'm using about half an inch, a quarter of an inch. It's really depending on what you prefer. And then it's just connecting all those dots and cleaning all the lines. I use a lot of round or specialty rulers, but you can do this with just any straight edge. Once you have that, you basically do the same thing for all of the patterns. I want you to also take a quick look at these 2 pieces because the front and the side of the front, both pieces connect. So you want to make sure that when you're working on patterns that those pieces are the correct length, because sometimes during transferring, the measurements can change a little bit. So you want to make sure that they are right. That way you can do any adjustments while still on paper and you haven't cut them out yet. Another thing that you want to watch out for is making sure you are placing the arrow of where the grain of the fabric is. That way when you're cutting out your fabric, you know which way your pattern needs to be facing in order to have that same grain. And that's it. And then you cut out your pattern and you're ready to work with it. I hope that this helps you with your future cosplays if you're working with any fabrics that are non-stretch. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.